Good evening, everyone. How are you? I'm going to check in with the comments right away and see how many people we have. And I don't know. Here's why. I just downloaded StreamYard, so this is all new to me. I can't tell how many people are here, and I think I can see all of your comments. I know that we have my favorites here: Relax and Maxon, Miffed Cuttlefish, and Michael Blacktree. Not that I don't love everyone here, but those are the people that have been with me for quite a while. And welcome to everyone else. So my name is Jennifer Molesky, and we are live. And earlier today, I started thinking about my last two videos, which was about boundaries. And I started thinking about anger and how, I admitted a couple streams ago that I had stopped producing so much content because the comments were kind of getting me down. So that got me thinking about anger, and it got me thinking about how stupid that is to let something like your opinion bother me. So I started thinking about anger and what anger really is. And I have great disappointment in the people who, perhaps I'm one, who will spend chunks of their life being angry at something that they don't want to attain. I'm talking about something specific. I'm talking about men who despise the idea of marrying a woman or being with a woman, but all they do is spend time thinking about why they don't want to do that. It's like if you hated the idea of going to France, but all you did in your free time was watch movies about going to France. It is nonsensical. So I was thinking about their anger and what that anger does and is, and holy shit. So here's what I did. I made a slideshow. I made a slideshow today, and I thought that we would go over it. And I have my water, I have some wine, and I'm going to try to pull up my stream just so I can see more of you. Wait, we don't have France. You can hate, oh yeah, you can hate France. You can totally hate France. Excuse me. I know that these are kind of weird moments, at least for me, in going live, because this is boring for you. Okay. All right, here we go. Troll with a purpose is here. I also very much like troll with a purpose. Convert anger to motivation rather than trying to use it directly. So, yeah, I agree. So I have for you this slideshow. Okay. I'm going to try to check in with you as much as possible. I'm going to try to keep on track here. So would you agree that most anger stems from fear? Okay. And because we're humans, we all have types of fear. And today at the end of this, I want to talk about someone who wrote in my comment section that he's 65 years old. He is a widow. He was married for 35 years and he was totally submissive to her and he hates himself for it. So I thought we could dissect that. I had someone else in the comment section who had just recently a woman who had spent time with some friends, and one girl had kept giving her dodgy, shitty remarks, and she didn't know if she'd be overstepping the boundary if she said something to her or not. I thought we could talk about that. There was once a woman who dated a guy in high school, and they got into a fight at a carnival in a small town in front of all their friends, and he dumped soda on her head. I thought we could talk about that. What do you think? Pretty cool. Pretty cool. So what are you angry about? What's your fear? And just like I think Troll with a Purpose said, use it for motivation. So use it to exist better, or say out loud and then click off, I choose to keep my anger. Okay. There's a difference. Some earlier comments way this afternoon, we're talking about the rage in the man's belly, that there are many guys who have a low level rage that keeps them going. I actually don't have any problem with that. I've also heard a lot of men talk about whenever a man is talking to another man, there's always a threat of violence that he knows about. Like there's in the back of his mind. I'm not talking about that. To me, that's odd because I'm a girl, and so, but it makes sense, and I think it's healthy, and I think it's fine. But all right, so apply your indirect anger to your own life, or waste it. So any anger that you have, I think we should run through ourself to see if it is pertinent or if it's not, if it's propaganda, if it's an implant, an anger implant. Okay. So I wrote down, and tell me if you have any. Actually, I'm curious, are any of you struggling with any anger right now? Does anyone feel like they have been slighted by someone? Is anyone angry at someone? Is anyone in a situation where you don't know if you should confront your sister, your mother, your husband, your kid's teacher? Because there's a little bit of an anger. Does anyone have? For me, abuse and inequity equals anger. My husband and I went out to dinner tonight, and we were talking on the way home about what victim anger is, like an anger that you truly have no power over. And he was saying, like, to parents, how did you say it? It's like
the victims are,
yeah, the only
sexual abuse and parental abuse.
The only real victims are children. Or I would interject and say elderly or animals. You know, any being that is looking up to someone for help, support, and love. And when they don't get that, and it's absolutely, when they're crushed by that person, that's a real victim. That is a totally different thing than what we're going to talk about today. If you have been raped or molested or abused from your parents, I would go to therapy. That's what I would do. But for everyone else, the common reasons for anger, tell me if I forget any. Common reason for anger would be an unmet expectation. I think that this is one of the biggest reasons for anger. I have an expectation that you will like me, that you won't put me through the ringer, that you will be courteous enough where I don't have to raise an objection with you, that you will like me, that the relationship will go better. Unmet. Emotional pain, violence you have endured. And this would be more for violence that you have decided to stay in. Like, he only hit me once, or he only hits me when he's been drinking, and it's been 5 years and he's only hit me 8 times. If you are choosing to stay, then you are participating. Then I would say that it's violence that you have endured. If you were just beat up until you were 17 and could get out of the house, it's not quite the same. Violence that you have given. There are plenty of people who watch this who have been the person who has been violent to someone else. And that can make you angry at yourself. It can, if you're still really fucked up, it can make you angry that the person made you so mad that you were violent to them. Well, that's not correct, but that's how unhealthy minds can see that kind of situation. Or you've been hypnotized, brainwashed, propaganda. I'm really into hypnotism lately. I've always been into hypnotism, but I do believe, as I think many of you are on the same page as me, mainstream media, news, entertainment has really figured out the colors and the things that need to happen on screen to hypnotize their audience. Your brainwaves go down into a very hypnotizable state when you watch TV. Your news that you hear that comforting Zosha. You hear that comforting theme song and you get into a hypnotic state. You or someone else discovered something about yourself that you don't like. Words that make you feel small or unappreciated can make you angry. You can influence someone to the degree you want to. You can get angry that you're not effective. Think about every time you've seen a Facebook fight and there's two people on opposing sides who are dogging each other and trying to low level convince the other person to join them because they're right. And the more they can't convince them, the more angry people can get. You don't feel seen or understood, and you live in an unjust world. This is a different kind of chat that I've ever done. So let me know what you think. The other emotions that people confuse with anger, because there's a lot of fear as well, and there's other things that we think are anger, but they're not. Desires, unmet desires. I want my commenters to like me, and when they don't, my desire is rocked anger. It produces anger. Jealousy, but jealousy is exceptional because it shows you what you want. Comparison to others can cause anger. We live in the wealthiest time period ever, but because of our absolute wealth and ease and technology, we can now blatantly see the difference between the most elite and the plebs. So I'm a pleb. And when I see someone who is a billionaire, I'm like, that is a huge comparison. That's unjust. I get angry. I don't, but you understand. Lazy. There's a lot of young people who are really lazy, and they're upset that a life worth living takes energy. You'd be pissed too, right? If you wanted that billionaire lifestyle, but you were refusing to do it because it's unfair because you're fucking lazy, right? Guilt also makes you. So we're all spending our energy. You fine, beautiful folks like Michael and Miffled and a troll are spending your energy with me. Some people get stuck in an energy with their energy budget. So I wanted to look at that. My question, there's two questions and then the gap. And it goes like this. What percentage of your time, question to yourself, what percentage of your time would you allow yourself to be angry? If you could have a conversation, a logical conversation with yourself, what percentage of time would you allow yourself to spend angry? And then you would want to ask, well, what percentage of time do I spend angry now? What's the gap? And anger takes energy. And there are times in my life where I have thought I'm clean of anger. But then I look and I have to measure what I'm doing to see if it's more on the anger spectrum or on the creation. So I would say the anger is with the destroying here on the right-hand side. There's a lot of people that want to destroy the patriarchy or a person, a business, a theory, a family, a government, a relationship. And they'll spend a lot of their energy, Zosha. They'll spend a lot of their energy trying to destroy because it's very easy to destroy. How long have you been with the person you're married or dating? Let's say it's 5 years. She's okay. Let's say it's 5 years. It takes 5 years to create this really amazing relationship, but how fast could you destroy it? Quickly. Quicker than 5 years. If you wanted to do a slow kill, it could take 5 years, 10 years, 35 years. Or you could probably kill it in one swift destructive motion. Consuming. Are you consuming alcohol or drugs? Would that be with more angry or lazy? Or would it be because you're actually trying to create something? I don't really have a lot of things against drugs, but have you heard that there's two types of drugs? There's a destroying and a creating. So a destructive drug would be heroin or meth, and a building would be DMT or peyote, right? That's what you are guided with a spirit guide. So you might want to consider that. There's also people who consume and eat people through sex. So they will try to consume as much energy from another person through sex as they can to fill the void. I would put that in the destroying. Then there's the creation side of it, where sex is built, sex is done to create love or life. Like that's a huge difference in your energy. Oh, people. I don't like how this feels. I'm going to check in with you guys. 11 years. Miffed Cuttlefish. I know that Miffed Cuttlefish is in a happy marriage. And it took 11 years, and it's going to take 11 more. And it's going to take 11 more after that to keep improving it. And I bet when she has sex with her husband, she's building something instead of destroying. That's why I don't really like promiscuity. I think that there is often a consumptive, angry energy force behind it. And you can disagree with me. No shit. Of course you can. Lackluster's in the stream. And Vape King says, sex addict. Yeah, I dated one once and it was actually not good after a while. I imagine dating anyone who is addicted to something is not very good after a while. And then Vape King, were you concerned that she was cheating on you to keep getting the sex? I wonder about that. And Vape King, it's like they use you. Yeah, I mean, well, good for you. Did you learn something? Like your next relationship, you won't go for someone who's addicted to sex? I imagine that. Oh, like what about the sex is addictive? Oh, wait. Miffed, are you asking Vape King? Okay. So here, I'm sorry. Okay, so I'm going to go back to sharing. I'm going to share with you. No. Yes. Okay. So I think that oftentimes people think that they are angry or they feel angry, but no one is getting down to the root of the true emotion. So I would say with emotional pain, it's because you have an unmet expectation. If my husband doesn't look me in the eye ever and totally blows me off, it will bring me the first thing, I might be angry. But if I'm clean in my emotion and I can really figure out what it is, I'm not angry, I'm hurt. I have an unmet expectation and it's bringing me emotional pain. Unmet expectations are because of a desire. So if my husband is paying no attention to me, my desire is that he's into me, that he makes eye contact with me, that he gives a shit. Okay. Violence, you have endured would be because of an unjust world, which means you have an unmet expectation. You desire fairness, at least the way you think that fairness goes. There is a lot of hypnotized people out there right now, brainwashed propaganda, emotions sold to you to encourage you to be angry. We as a society are being used right now because we're a very volatile 2022 human species. And anger makes things happen. And I believe that is being used to hate each other, to keep the justified anger of our inept, corrupt government from being considered as the problem. And instead, we hate you because you're racist. You're fucking racist. For whatever reason. Oh, you're racist because you don't think you're racist. Well, then you're clearly racist, and you're super racist, and now you're just stupid as well. You know, it's like all these divides. That would be the implants, the anger implants. How many people are falling for it? I know that I can get, I talk all the time how I'm an anarchist, and I try to be very self-responsibility, negative rights, but being part of a mob, a group, a team feels good. So I can pretty easily sell myself on some conservative points. And if I allow myself to sink down too much, I become angry at people who are what? Democrats, liberals, lefties. Even though as an anarchist, I don't appreciate statism at all, but I can sell myself that pretty easily. And I would say that I'm pretty aware. I bet you're pretty aware too, but do you find yourself able to be bought with your emotion? Or is it just me? It could very well be just me. Words that make you feel small, unappreciated. Again, that's an unmet expectation. Well, I was really nice to that woman, and I was kind and I was honest. And then she said things to me that made me feel unappreciated when she was supposed to appreciate me. This is not going as planned. It is an unmet expectation. Again, when you can't influence someone to the degree that you want, think of the Facebook fight. All you're upset about is the lack of power you have to attain the goal of bringing someone over to your side. So it's powerlessness. And yes. Okay, so this is something that I came up with. And here's what I thought we could do. I thought we could use these examples of the ones I gave you earlier with the soda pop spilled on the head, the submissive man, one more I can't remember, but we run them through this. Let me blow it up for you more. So we are going to use this person as an example. Look at the top here. This is a comment. I took away his name. Comment in my last video. 65-year-old weak male doormat here. Widower after 35 years, submissive in marriage, filled with self-hate. It ain't fun at all. I imagine it's not fun at all. So let's imagine together. And then if this guy watches, maybe he can use our logic and caring to get him to figure out some of this self-hate by using this nifty list. And again, I'm interested in your opinions about this. So my idea is list a person and main event that has made you angry. So if we are this guy, it's our wife. Our wife has made us angry. Chase down the final and true emotion that it brought out. List a person and a main event. So I'm going to imagine, if I'm this guy, that the woman, the wife, belittled me about my income and said that she would be able to make better dinners if I made more money. And I've been with this company for 30 years and I haven't got many raises, and I should be, if I was smart, I should be at the top of at the top of the company, and everything is my fault. That would be a main event from my wife. And how would that make me feel? Chase down the final and true emotion that it brought out. I would feel, well, I'd feel fucking angry because I would feel small, unappreciated, and embarrassed. Am I missing any emotion? When and where did you learn that that emotion reaction helps? So this B doesn't work all the time, but it could work in the capacity of some people learn to act embarrassed and small and defenseless when they're children. And how does it help? Well, it could help in two ways. If I act small and embarrassed, maybe my parent will stop belittling me. They'll see I've had enough and they'll release me from the grips of their vitriol. Or maybe when I acted embarrassed or shamed, my family would rush to my side and say, "Oh no, Jennifer, no, you're wonderful, you're great. You have so much worth, you're wonderful." So maybe it was a manipulation tactic. Again, this doesn't always work. Dale and I ran through a bunch of instances of personal experiences of anger, and there's not always a time that you learned the emotion, but sometimes there is. And how did it help? So I just ran through the two ways that it could have helped. So in the situation of your wife making fun of your income, did it feel like you were giving away or not using your power? And when I say power, I mean your voice, your boundaries, or your ability to remove yourself from the situation. So if I was that guy, yes, I would feel like I was giving up my power. How did it increase their power by not using yours? Well, every time this woman spoke down to me and I didn't stand up for myself, it made her more angry that she was dealing with the man who couldn't stand up for himself by not defending himself against herself. And if he can't defend himself against her, then she's not protected. She has no security. This enrages her even further. So by not putting up the boundaries, you have made this woman more contemptuous, and it filled her. Okay, I'll take that back. Yeah, you have filled her with more power and rage. Okay, so how did you allow them to get away with it? It would be, I would say, if I was that guy, by not saying to her that I will not tolerate this any further. And then write down 3 ways that you could have handled that situation differently. Pooty pump, he was stupid to marry to begin with. Pooty pump, you are out of the intellectual conversation. That is a vapid remark. It's lowbrow. So try again. So 3 ways that he could have handled it differently. Okay, what about 1 way? How about, I have listened to this insult for the last time. I've never told you this before, but that's the last time. If you speak to me in that tone or in that belittling way again, you are staying at your mother's until you apologize. Now, I will give you 5 minutes to show how pissed off you are and to have your fucking tantrum. That's it. But hear my words, hear me well, woman. So that would be one thing. Or you could just say, don't talk to me like that. Sometimes that's all it takes. So this is my little system that I've come up with. And then if you get really good at figuring out why you're angry and remedying it, then you can go in and go list the people that you have wronged. Okay. Why you took advantage of them. So most people listening, most people in the world have taken advantage of someone. Why? Usually because you can. The clerk at the huge corporate store only charged you $10, even though the bill was $200. Well, it doesn't hurt the company, not necessarily, and she probably won't get in that much trouble. I will take advantage of her stupidity or her accident or her thoughtlessness. Okay, and how did they allow it to happen, if it pertains? And then you can go through and clean your entire past. And when you write down the 3 ways that you could have handled the situation differently, you hear me talk so much about retraining your brain and the neuroconnectors, and how if you have chosen repeatedly shitty women or shitty men, it's a habit. It's your bad habit. So how can you correct that? Well, you have to retrain your brain. Before you ever go on another date, you have to retrain your brain. So there's a neuroconnection to find a better person, the best person, the person you're actually uncomfortable with because you suck at being in a good relationship. So you have to retrain. So when you go through and go, okay, here's 3 ways I could have handled the situation better, you're creating neural connections of possibility. So the next time that happens, you have a plan or 3 plans of how to handle it better. You know, with, so let's talk about the girl in my comment section who was out with friends, old friends that she hadn't seen in a long time. And there was a girl who kept making underhanded comments. Here, you're going to love this. My audience loves this. She being the woman who commented, is a new stay-at-home mom. Since COVID and everything that's happened, her and her husband decided that she should stay at home and raise the children. And this old friend or acquaintance kept making underhanded comments about how she could never do that. She is going to school for an advanced degree. She could never stay at home. So what she's saying is, I'm fucking smart. I could never do what a dumb person like you would do. So the girl that wrote the comment was wondering, as many of you have written in the comments, what is the fine line between me overreacting and me standing up for myself? So I would suggest that everyone be more black and white. A friend and I broke up because I'm too black and white, because life is gray. Life is gray, but life works really easy when you have set boundaries. So it also works in restaurants. Many of you know I've worked in restaurants for 100,000 years. There's 2 main events that have happened where the managers didn't know what to do because it had never happened before. The first one is pretty easy. There was 2 skeezy dudes at a booth, and they had a laptop like this, and they were watching porn because they were editors, or they were gross. You don't have to go out to a restaurant at lunch to face the laptop out and talk about what you're going to edit for porn, right? But someone was like, dude, to my manager, Tyler, they're watching fucking porn at table 20. And he's like, what? No. Oh my, what do I do? Well, the obvious is you say, hey, can you turn your laptop around and turn the volume down? This is a restaurant. But the fact is, no one had complained. It was just the server that said anything. So there's trepidation in what to do. Now, if he had thought about the ludicrous scenario of one day, if there's ever a table that is watching porn, they automatically, what? Get kicked out, have to leave, their food's to go, they have to turn it off, whatever. I don't care what it is. I don't care if it's mild or not, but there is a black and white response. So from then on, the rule was if you are watching porn here, you can't do it. The other rule, this is just kind of an aside story. It was a Friday night and it was a cocktail lounge, like a swanky cocktail lounge. And there was a booth and the server went up to the manager and then we all found out. She's like, dude, this woman on booth 24 is sucking that guy's dick under the table. So the new rule was if that ever happened again, all this, it never happened again. He just said to her, hey, you can't do that here. But the new rule was if that ever happens again, we all the servers have to go and like clap just to be assholes. We were all in our 20s. It sounded good, right? But that was the new rule. I worked at a restaurant. Are these stories boring to you? I worked at a restaurant and it was a very, very fine dining. And there was two business dudes, I think, and they were swearing a lot and loud. And we got one complaint and we got another complaint. And the manager didn't know what to do. Why? Because life is gray. Because this has never happened before. Because he didn't know what to do. Because was he overreacting? Who should he play to? Black and white. So I said to him, listen, obviously you have to tell them to stop it. And you have to, at the next server meeting, say from now on, if there's even one complaint with people swearing, this is what we do. And he said, no, I don't want to even spend any energy on it. It'll never happen again. It happened once. So what's the rule? What's the black and white rule? So that is why I think that creating these boundaries and these three possibilities of black and white, if I'm ever out with my friends and someone says something that I find degrading, demoralizing, something that I don't want to hear, then I have this sentence ready. Hey, I don't know if you're kidding or not. I might be overly sensitive and I don't want to be overly sensitive, but I don't appreciate those kind of remarks about staying at home with my family. It's the best decision I've ever made. Maybe it's not the best decision for you, but I can't sit here and not say anything when you say those things or something like that, right? The man who was married for 35 years, that's 35 years of destruction. That is 35 years of no, sorry, that's not what I wanted to do. Of destroying the relationship. He spent 35 years destroying his own fucking patriarchy. He destroyed a person, himself and his wife. I have a theory. It's that men should lead. He spent 35 years destroying that. He probably destroyed his family. He destroyed a relationship, and he destroyed a relationship with himself. I asked him in the comments section, he said that he's filled with self-hate, and he even wrote in another comment that he believes he deserves that self-hate. So I said, is that how you want to die, or do you want to repair it? And it's a fair question because I think a lot of people want to sit with their anger. You can use your anger to exist better, or you can say out loud, I choose to keep my anger. I don't want a better life. And you have to say, I don't want a better life. You can't say, I don't deserve a better life, because that's bullshit. You have to decide, I don't want it, because you do deserve it. So I hope that that guy watches this. I hope that you decide to die with high self-esteem and a resolved past. I have no problem with you feeling guilt. All of us who have let anger get the better of us, all of us who have let shitty comments go and thought of the thing that, oh, wouldn't it be great if I would have said XYZ? Yeah, that's it. I think something is wrong here. How's everybody doing? Yes? Okay, Glockler. People indulge in anger because it makes them feel powerful and righteous. That is true, because the fact about anger is it makes people yield. Wield? Yield. When you wield anger against people, it makes them yield. So if we're having a great time in the house and Dale comes in and he's in fucking raged, he's so mad, do you think we're all like, oh, hey, get over it, come join us? No, quiet. Why? So huh? He is so mad. Because that wins, that trumps. But it's some of the weakest shit. It's when a person only has that as their card, they only have the ace. And it's like, how many times can you show the ace in the game of life where people are like, I don't want to play with you anymore. This isn't even fun. You don't even have a full hand. There's no game we can play that is even remotely fun, because you just have the ace and you're unwilling to gain the full deck. Do the hard work to get the 2 and the jack. Like, you have to do all this work and say the uncomfortable things to make it so you are truly powerful enough where you can play a fun game of life with everyone who also can play full games of life. Oh, sorry. What's going on? How's everybody doing? Is it true that we have maintained 39 people? Dale? No? Nobody knows.
No, 80.
Oh, really? This is all frickered up. Does anyone have any questions? Question everything. There's no point getting angry over women. It is wasted energy. I will talk about that. There's no point in getting married. I'm sorry. There's no point in getting angry over. No, there is a point of getting angry over your woman in your life when she's bad, when she is disrespectful, when she is destructive. But globally, that's like getting, I talk about this. So it is stupid to get mad at women in general, right? That's stupid anyway. Marriage laws, systemic racism, and shark fin fishing. I bring this up a lot. Years ago, there was a petition. Sign the petition, because in China, the wealthy have shark fin soup. like at weddings and whatnot. So the fishermen will go and catch sharks, cut their fins off, and then throw them in the water. And then they die because they can't swim. And this enraged many Americans that on the seas of China, that was happening. And I thought, wow, this is absolutely a waste of energy to care about the sharks and what people are doing in China when they won't have the energy to go to the school board meeting or stand up for themselves in a group of friends or let their wife walk all over them or let their husband hit them one more time. This is why in my Princess Queen video, I talked about the difference between a princess. A princess cares about everything. She nurtures the shit out of the whole world. She is totally ineffectual as a woman. Whereas a queen will have sympathy or care, but not to the degree that she will do anything outside of things for her husband, her family, her neighborhood, her community. See, a winner, if you are winning in life, you have everything in your life taken care of, and you slowly, like I did in the role of a woman, what a man, a real man, yes, a real man will do is he will build himself up until he can take on responsibility. And then he has so much responsibility that he has a kingdom. And then he goes, oh, I can take on the responsibility of a woman. So it's all in line. A king doesn't go, I'm gonna change the laws and make it so they don't want to eat that stew anymore. And I don't think that you should keep the fish. They should all be catch and release. Like, fuck off. An adult person takes full control of what they can control, and they do it really well. And I'm a big advocate for that because yes, it is a waste to care about all women, but it would be a very bitch move to not take control of what you can take control of and say, okay, here's my boundaries, girlfriend, wife. This is what I allow because it's fair. You can always raise a grievance with me. You can't do it in a shitty asshole way. Not very articulate there, was I? So I have this, I'm using StreamYard, and I don't have all the comments, I don't think. So that kind of bums me out. Question everything. It's unreasonable to place the behavior. It's unreasonable to place the behavior of women at the feet of men. You're right. You should choose a really great woman. But since she's a woman, she's a person. Just like you are gonna. Have you been friends with a guy for like 20 years? How old are you? Long enough where you've had a really long male relationship? One time, do you remember the one time you fucked up and your friend called you out on it? Or he. You are not responsible for your best friend's actions, but you're responsible for your boundaries. That's all I'm going to say about that. As a couple, Pearl Rival says, as a couple, why do you delegate tasks? Why not address them together? Can you expound on that? I'm not quite. Simbunji, welcome back. How do you determine who needs love and who deserves anger? And that's a very good question. That's the fine line of, well, I think I was about to answer a question you never asked. So let me go. Who needs love and who needs anger? I don't think anyone needs anger. I think that's why my little system is very helpful because it helps you see what the actual feelings are that you have. So list a person and a main event that has made you angry. And then what's the true emotion that it brought out? Yeah, it made me mad. What is below the anger? And then if you care about the community of friends, about your relationships, about remaining stoic, then all boundaries, and every time you deal with a slight or someone who goes outside of your boundaries, you do it with love and stoicism. You can lay down the law. It can start with anger, but you should be healthy enough and mature enough to be able to deduce what it really is, figure out exactly the right way to handle it in a mature, logical way without emotion leading you, and then get it done. Would be my opinion. Okay. Joe Smith says a cheating spouse deserves anger. Hold on, I have to think. I think what we're forgetting is what kind of a toll does anger take on us? So not only does your spouse cheat on you, but now you have this anger in your heart. I would say that a cheating spouse deserves a partner that has high enough self-esteem and self-love to be able to follow their conviction. Okay, so there are some people who, if they were cheated on, wouldn't leave. I have no problem with that because I'm not here to tell you what to do. If you could really, really let it pass, then that's great. If you can't let it pass, then I would hope that that cheating spouse doesn't get your anger, but it gets God, I'm sorry, I'm struggling with words. Your fair verdict. Thanks for trying to make it work. You didn't do great. I'm filing for divorce. That's it. You can find somewhere else to stay, or I'll find somewhere else to stay, whatever your verdict is. But anger hurts the soul. I don't like to be angry. When I feel myself escalating, I go, whoa, what's going on? What's really going on? I don't want to feel like that. I don't even make good decisions when I'm like that. What do you think? You think I'm off base? Relax and Maxon, my good friend. I'm really listening, but this stuff is hitting close to home. Am I in denial? I don't know. Question everything says if they cheat, they want something you aren't giving them. Wave goodbye to them. That is a total possibility. Or I say that there's some women, a good woman, the kind of woman that you want to marry is a woman who is looking for a man that she respects so much that she gives him applause, and it's enough to get his applause. A shitty woman who is immature, hurt, and not dealt with it yet, she's always going to be looking for an auditorium. Your applause will never be enough. And she's not necessarily cheating because you're lacking, but because she's lacking. It could also be that you're not lacking so much. You are so good, you are making her terribly uncomfortable because she's only used to the pattern of abuse or neglect. She's used to being cheated on. She's used to being hurt. And when she doesn't get that, it makes her feel uncomfortable. Maybe? I don't know. Simbanji, fool. Resentment is where I'm heading. That seems to be the other side of the anger I'm feeling. I don't want that. It seems to me that resentment only comes and I'm not saying that you haven't. Actually, here's my question to you. Do you feel like you have resentment because you have not spoken up when you wanted something to make a correction? You haven't spoken up at the pivotal moments. And now the hindsight is so full of lost opportunities that you have let go, that you are resentful to the person. That's what I have found quite often. If I have resentment, I just had a conversation tonight. I said, I have this feeling, and if I don't tell you, and I repeatedly don't tell you, I'll eventually be resentful, and I can't have that. So at the first sign that my little spidey feelings are going, oh, there is a lack here. There's an expectation. You tell me if it's right or wrong, but this is my expectation and you weren't delivering. What do you think of that? It needs to be brought up so the resentment doesn't get planted. So the seed doesn't go in the seed bag, and then pretty soon when spring comes, you trip and fall, and there's resentment seed everywhere, and now you just have a field of weeds. Yes, and as the years go on, there are more and more missed opportunities and time I can't get back. That's fine. That's okay. So you might be using this beautiful energy right now, the energy that you even have to type these words on your hindsight. Got it. Hindsight, it's over and it's okay. What's not okay is when you get done with this stream, sitting down and writing down a few of those missed opportunities, what they are, and if you could do it again, the better for you decision would be to do this or to say this. And now you are just beginning to create a blueprint for the rest of your life. Now, the more stacks of good decisions, the more times that you stand up for yourself, that you don't miss an opportunity, the further you have to look in your past to find the guy you used to be. And you will start to heal your whole soul and mind and life. Okay. Have you ever smelt a smell that reminds you of an ex or a childhood memory or your grandma or somebody's house? So I've been thinking lately for all of us to go to the store and find a fragrance that we like enough to wear or smell every morning for a year. Or to find a random song that you've never heard before and play it every morning when you wake up for 1 year. The fireplace smells. The reason for this is because then we can assess our growth by the visceral feeling that we get from hearing the song or smelling the smell. Okay, because I can go, oh my God, I'm so happy right now. Like we just moved to this house and I really like homesteading. But if the moment we had gotten here and I would have listened to X song and sprayed X scent every day, when I'm 70 years old and I smell that smell and listen to that song, I will be transported and I'll truly know what I was going through and my growth and what was good and what was bad and all the feelings. So maybe what you should do is decide, go through your resentments, figure out a catalog of go-to new ways you'll handle it. And tomorrow, go pick out a cologne and do it smell it for 2 months and then move on. And then watch how in 1 year, as you smell those fragrances, you can actually get a true sense of your emotional development. Does that make sense? Yeah, of course it makes sense. I'm going to be right back. What do you think of that? I'll be right back. I smelled smoke, so I wanted to check and see if he was doing the Bronco. Do you remember what the Bronco is? You remember that? Doesn't matter if you don't. All right. Anyone else have anything? Simbunji says, I love the smell of pines. They remind me of Christmas trees and happy childhood memories. A new cologne every season? I think it's a great idea. I think it's a great idea too. I have good ideas sometimes. Pause for station identification. How's everybody doing this evening? I'm very, very honored that you're deciding to spend time with me. Michael Blacktree says, aromas can be powerful. For example, the smell of diesel exhaust reminds me of my military service. Heck yeah. And it transports you, doesn't it? It's like you're there. You know, I think that God is great because he has given us the power of teleportation. When someone dies that we have loved, we have memories and we can close our eyes and go back in time and be with them. On that note, I think it's Simbunji, or no, someone is thinking that they're feeling resentment. You have the power to go back and repair those memories. I know it sounds hokey. You know, have you heard of, yes, you have, because you're my audience. You know how there's the false memories that people can implant? And through repetition, you can remember something that never happened. I would hate to rob you of reality, but it might behoove you to find one scenario in which you regret having reacted the way you did and fix it and change the whole thing in your memory and go back and visit that memory every day until the memory is resolved. You know, this life is long enough to be a pleasure, short enough to be hell. And any tools that we hear that resonates with us As weird as it sounds, if it fucking resonates with you, try it. Heaven or hell. Heaven or hell, baby. Oh, question everything. You know what? You need to email me, because I think we should have a one-on-one. You are in a bad place. You have downloaded so much angry information. I imagine that you have been watching red pill content for the past. Hold on. Let me see if I can connect to you. Let me see. Question everything. You have been looking at red pill content since the last time you got burned from a woman. It's been, I want to say 9 months, but I think it's about 1.5 years. But the past 9 months, you've really started to indulge in it. Am I right? 7 years, LOL, 5 years. Wait, question everything. I'm in a great place, but I haven't heard you say anything positive about something that's out of your control. So, for those of you who are upset or distrusting of women and are in a great place without them and don't want to be with them, is that true? Because I have some sense that there are many men who are, I'm not saying you are, but there are many men who, I want to say obsessed, but very, very energetic about how much they are happy without women. And it's like they need a daily reminder from YouTube comment creators as to why they don't want women. It's the France thing. If you were honestly happy not going to France, you wouldn't talk about France. You would talk about America or Germany or Wisconsin Dells or the Kentucky Derby, right? You would not spend your life force energy talking about a negative, talking about something that you don't want. It's just not what people do. James Leeton, nobody wants to be alone. I agree, except for well, you guys, what do you think? It's been a little over an hour. I'm always surprised of how long we spend together. I love it. I'm thinking about ending the stream because I think that we might be done. Are there any last questions or comments or pieces of advice or anything that you want to say to me or each other? Pearl revival, chores, work, projects, parenting, etc., collaboration. Chores, work, projects, parenting. I don't know what that means, except for those are all good things. Those are all creative. Those are all creating. You do a chore, you create a better space. You do the work, you create the money, the space. You do the projects, you create the self-esteem. You do the parenting, you create really, really good people. The Monster Fool, thank you, Jennifer. I appreciate you. Have a great weekend. You do the same. Thank you. Brian K asks, how is the orchard? You know, it's up there. I haven't been up to look at it in a while. Some deer rubbed on the trees. I don't know why. They're like this. The trees are, well, maybe like that big. They're just 6 feet, 7 feet tall. So, and we have there's hundreds of acres of trees for these GD deer to do their thing. So I'm hoping that they're great. I'll let you know this spring how they look. Miffed Cuttlefish says, have a great weekend, fellow humans. Keep the faith. Real fire or gas log? It's a wood burning fireplace, but we have like a Duraflame in it. Don't you have a freeze heading your way? James Lataw, perhaps. I don't know, but we've been getting a lot of snow and our driveway is super, we have a 4-wheel drive truck and my mother has a car and she's struggling and we're not. Jerry Kindig too, thank you. Those are always really, really pleasing for me to receive. So I thank you. Oh, okay. Chores, work, projects, parenting, etc. Collaboration. As a couple, why delegate instead of collaborate? I'm not a collaborator unless it comes to delegating. There are, do you, when you say collaborate, like you do the dishes together and like you sweep and he mops, something like this? See, we collaborate. My husband makes all the money and I take care of the house. But that's just what we have. So I would never want him to. Sometimes he'll like,
And him.
huh?
And him.
And him? He'll like try to pick up a dish to take it to the sink. I have a problem with that. 9 times out of 10. Sometimes I'm like, totally okay. But that's what we have. If however you are doing it, if your relationship has no contempt and it is smooth and wonderful, then keep it up. Girl, what the heck? Oh, wow. Yeah, Carol B, I did not cover the tree trunks. I don't know. We'll see. Well, everyone, let me show you something. Let me. Sorry. Okay. That's my email address. A few people asked, someone had a question about their life, and then they told me that I did not have their permission to discuss it. So I don't really know. On a side note, someone's going to get mad at me for saying this. Anyone who has ever considered suicide should have gotten a mohawk first. Okay, why do I say that? Because I had a mohawk. I'll pull up a picture at some point. It's just like I have a pixie cut and then I would put it up like this. And it changed my life in a way because it was totally not me. And I think that people that want to, that consider, that are down in the dumps and have that horrible, so sad thought come into their mind, I think that often they need to give they need a change and they need courage to defy what they think others expect from them. And a mohawk is a great thing to do. Cardinal Bob, love your content. I try hard and I'm happy to hear that. Thank you very much. That's me. And yes, I had a mohawk. When you got the mohawk, did it change your Yeah. Yeah, no, he's not doing laundry, dishes, or vacuuming. No way. No way, Jose. Oh, Gideon Curtis says, if you and Dale find yourselves with the money to do so, we hire a personal attendance nanny maid. Never a nanny. Rolf. Hello, Rolf. We talked about some people get angry when they can't persuade someone and change their mind. And one of my examples was Facebook. Like if you get into a disagreement on Facebook, some people get very mad and because they don't have the magic words and the persuasive power to change the minds. Rolf is someone that thinks very differently than I, and I think very differently than he does. So yeah, no, we would never do that. We would hire some, like I'm gonna have somebody come out this spring to teach us how to mushroom forage. And like someone that'll come and teach us how to sew and shit like that, but never someone to do for us. Except for I would probably get a maid. But no, I wouldn't. But I probably would. Joe Smith says, just want to say you're great, Jen. Love to hear your takes. Thank you. I have a good time with all of you. I'm all over this New World Economic book now. Oh, I have the New World Economics. I don't know if you're talking about a real book, but that's it. Well, everyone, I think our time here is done. It has been gay and merry, and I have learned something, and you have been with me through the thinking process. And many of you have helped me, and I appreciate you always. Okay? I will see you in a couple days because I'm putting out content more. Okay? That's it, everybody. I love you as much as I can love you without really knowing you. Okay? All right. Be well, and goodbye.